Welcome to the Way to Go podcast. I'm here with Teddy Hill, my buddy. Crazy guy from Rock Creek. Who Jesus Christ changed your life.
And Jefferson.
And Jefferson.
Jefferson, Rock Creek.
Where'd you grow up at, though?
I'm Jefferson.
Jefferson? So how is it that you got such a notorious reputation in Rock Creek? That's what I want to know, because that's where it seemed like when I used to go to the open gym and I'd hear about you, it'd always be down there.
Well, when I was growing up, once I got to high school, I became friends with a lot of Rock Creek people.
Really?
And I started expanding my horizons from Jefferson on my bicycle, riding to Rock Creek to spend a night at my friend's house.
Did you ever live there or no? You never lived there?
Yeah, I lived there. Yeah.
Okay.
I lived there for quite a few years, from about, I'd say, 1990 to about 1998. So
All right.
8 years I lived there, yeah.
Well, you know, and I moved to this area in 1990, and I was doing that open gym, so that's probably why I got to hear so much about this guy named Peanut.
Oh, yeah.
They would call you, and I'll watch out for that guy, you know. So when did you come to know Christ?
Well, actually, I grew up in the Baptist church in Jefferson.
Okay.
You know, I was in the womb in church.
Right.
So, I really enjoyed going to church for the longest time when I was a little child, and then my dad died when I was 11, and it kind of soured my belly. I'd been baptized in the Baptist church, and,
Right.
and was in choir a year before my dad died. I mean, I was moving right along, and my dad died, and I just got a sour taste in my mouth over God.
Right. And when did that start? Like, when did you start going away from church then?
Instantly.
Really?
Within that year, I
Like you
was
were 12,
made to go.
so you were 12 years old.
Yeah, but I was made to go up
Right.
until the time I was about 14, and I was like, I can't go no more, because I started abusing drugs. Within a year, I was smoking weed and drinking and just rebelling big time.
Right.
And I had an older brother that was 16 at the same time as I was 11, so we both were like adamantly, fiercely mad at God, you know.
Now, would you think your life would have gone that way if your dad didn't die? Would he have kept you in line more, or do you think, no, we would have probably found trouble?
I probably would have been a soldier,
Okay.
because I looked up to my dad. I was raised by a soldier that was on the beaches in Normandy, and
Okay.
his brother died in the Battle of Okinawa, and so,
Right.
and there was things to make up for that my other brothers, nothing to take it away from them, that didn't agree with during the 60s and 70s. And
Right.
it kind of hurt my dad's feelings that they didn't feel the same way as he did, and that's how it goes in life.
Right.
Everybody doesn't feel the same way about war.
Right.
But I was really studious about becoming a soldier. I had even tried when I was a little older, but I had gotten myself in trouble. So at 19, 20 years old, I couldn't join the Marines after I passed the test. I had so many things going for me. I thought that, you know, but I had no license and I was on probation. So
Right. So the Marine said, maybe not. Maybe this isn't the right guy for the Marine Corps.
no.
So then what happened after that?
Well, I was married to my wife, and we just started making babies together. And
Right.
And I have the children that I have because of those things, you know.
Right.
And
Which you're proud of your kids.
oh yeah,
Yeah, Daryl, Cassie, Sam.
yeah.
Right.
And Dustin,
And Dustin, right?
yeah,
Right.
all of
Your
them,
oldest
yeah.
boy. Yep.
You know, and I got a good brother out in California that's prayed for me forever, and along with my mom, he came to Christ back in '71. My brother in California, so I've always had somebody in my life that still walked with the Lord. Like my mom died when I was 26, so I didn't have her, but I always had my brother. I had others. I've had
Right.
many church members always praying for me.
Well, it seemed like you hit a bottom at some point, though. Like your life, from what I remember of it, you're saying it just, you know, that whether that partying, drugging, pushing, whatever all it was that you got into, I mean, it just kind of carried on for.
29 years.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old were you when you quit doing all this stuff?
Well, it was, I had some clarity for a couple of years, but I was a dry drunk, you know, and didn't continue with the program, didn't seek out the Lord. I was still mad and fighting with him, which isn't a good thing to do with God.
Right.
And about 2002, from 1999 to about 2002, I started getting involved in heavy abuse of meth and still drinking and eating pills, whatever was comfortable to me at that time. And I ended up getting in a lot of trouble in my county, a lot of trouble in my town, In 2002, had an altercation with the officers that a lot of them I grew up with at Flan J, and from that point on, it just went downhill really quick till 2003. I was on the run over in PA about same day, October 15th, 2002, October 15th, 2003. God's got a sense of humor.
Right.
And I prayed a couple weeks before that in 2003 that either take me off the face of the earth, my soul's dying, help me do something. I need to go back home. I need to do what I could to make things right.
Right.
You know, in my strength, you know, what I could do, you know. And within 2 weeks of saying that prayer, next thing you know, I was in the Crawford County Jail in Sagerstown, PA. And within, I say that's my sobriety date, 2003, October 15th, and my salvation date is October 31st, 2003. Because within a couple weeks, I was bending the knee to God, you know, and just asking to lift these burdens off me and this chip.
How did it help?
Oh, greatly. I mean, tremendously. I didn't kick against the pricks. I rolled with it, you know. I started going to Bible studies. I mean, they had a plethora of Bible studies over there you could go. And James was like the first Bible study I did.
Oh, that's cool. It's a great book. Yeah.
So it was like, it opened me up, like I'm actually doing something about the way I look, the way I feel. And I wasn't about jumping right on amends and everything, but I knew I had to come home. So I had already...
Were you married at this time?
No, I was not married.
You were divorced at this point?
I'd been divorced from Kelly since 1995.
Okay.
So, no, I was single, just big-time social deviant with no consideration for myself or others. How could I care for others when I didn't care for myself?
Right.
You know, a lot of horrible things happened, but a lot of horrible things happen to everybody.
Right. So when you came to Christ, what was it that brought you to that moment to say, I need to just give it, you know, kind of put it on the table, say, Jesus, take the wheel, however you want to put it?
Well, I led my whole family to prison. Everybody was going to prison except for my youngest son. So I was about a centimeter tall in my own sight, and not much taller in God's sight at that time. And I thought about my mom and the way I was taught and what she taught me about God's love.
Right.
That's the best gift that I've realized really strongly recently about. That's the best gift.
Right.
The love for all of us, the love for humanity, the compassion, the love from Jesus Christ and what he did for us. And I just started praying, you know, and reading the book of Isaiah about 4 or 5 times within a couple weeks.
You're in prison now and you're reading the Bible. And so you go in on the 15th, October 15th, you get arrested, Crawford County Jail in Sagertown. And then on the 31st, so 16 days later, you turn your life over to Christ.
Yeah, by myself in my cell.
Just said a prayer, like how'd it go?
I wrote everything down that I possibly could think of that I've done. I mean, everything. And wrote it down on a piece of paper, you know, ripped it up, flushed it down the toilet, which I probably shouldn't have did, but it didn't plug it up.
Right.
But I got rid of it and then prayed, and I had several types of dreams, but I didn't attribute it to coming off a detox because every dream had my mom in it.
Right.
And it was just like a really, really peace came over me once I was like, you know what? I'm done. I didn't make no deals. I didn't ask for help.
You just told God you were sorry for your sins, and
I wanted him to help me get through whatever I needed to get through the way he thought I needed to.
Right.
Not my way.
So you were saying at that point, then he's becoming more than just somebody you heard about in Sunday school or church, but he's becoming, all right, he's the boss. And I've been steering my life this way. I want to see Jesus. I'm giving you the opportunity.
And his boxing gloves were smaller than mine, so he hit me harder.
Right. So what happened after that? What happened to your life after you came to Christ? Because I've always known you as real adamant. Like you're very strong in your faith, very strong in your walk.
Well, it took a bit. You know, I knew I was going to prison. That was just the start of my little tour of paying my debt to society. Right. You know, so I sat over there for a minute and somebody bonded me out actually, but it got me to Jefferson. Right. They wasn't going to let me go. I got bonded out and it brought me back to Jefferson to face my music at home. Right. So I went to court, ended up going to prison. I got 27 months in prison over in Ohio. So I did my time over in Ohio. they picked me right up in Ohio and took me back to PA. So I had to go over there and do some more time.
How much time did you do over there then?
I did when I went back, I got out in June and I was out in August, but I walked out with a couple years parole.
Okay.
You know, they seen that I was doing well, and I spoke directly and forthright to the judge. Didn't have a lawyer.
Right.
I was by myself. Didn't need a lawyer.
Right.
If you're going to sentence me, and you know I've already did time in Ohio. What's a little bit more time if that's what God wants?
Right.
That's what I kept saying. I didn't ask for no favors, didn't make no deals. I just wanted my life back, and
So
I didn't want to be
this got to
angry.
be like 2005 by now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, 2005, August 25th, I was out in 2005.
Okay.
Back on the streets, and within 2 weeks, I met up with Tom Allen at Hardee's and said, "Hey, what's with Eagleville?" I said, "I really don't want to return to my other church that I had. I want to go to Eagleville. I hear a lot of good things about it, and you know, because Tom did jailhouse ministry,
Right.
and he's known me since I was a baby, so I felt comfortable talking to him. I was very cautious about my Christianity. I didn't want it spoiled as it was when I was a kid, and
Right.
within 2 weeks, September 9th, September 9th was my first day at Eagleville, 2005.
That's
and I
pretty
walked
cool.
in and I got hugged, and I met Ken Bentley. I met Dave Bissell. I met you and Steve and Aaron. You guys are the first people that I met.
Right.
You know, and you started welcoming me into your house, and
Yeah.
it was good.
I didn't realize it's been a long time, man, because it was 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, 15 years
So I've
ago.
done half a year tour. I've done half of it with you
Right, absolutely.
pretty soon. You know.
Good. glad,
No,
glad
it's
to hear.
special. It's very, very meaningful
Right.
to have people in your church that love you so much.
Right. Oh, we do love you. I mean, you're a great guy. I mean, we respect, everything, because I don't look at people for the past. Like, it doesn't bother me. It doesn't trouble me, except for whatever.
I wouldn't have came here if that was the
hurts
case.
you. Right. But it doesn't bother me. I'm just like, hey, he got it together. He did his time. He turned his life over to the Lord. He's walking a new life, and he's helping other people. And I think that's one of the real keys, when Christ is working in your life. I mean, you're not thinking just about you. You're thinking about how can you impact others. I know your family's super important to you, and your children, your grandchildren are super important to you. Your wife, Kelly's super important to you.
You've married 3 people. You've married 3 sets of people in my family.
Yeah, absolutely.
Daryl, me,
Right.
Kelly, and Nicole, and
Right.
Dustin, and Tanya.
Right.
I mean, it's important to have a church family. I remember watching Billy Graham constantly, and he's always go to church on Sunday, to a Bible-believing church. Find you a Bible-believing church, and make sure you go to church on Sunday.
How old's Sam now? Your youngest son.
He was born and he's going to be 35 in December.
Right. So I remember him when he was 12, kicking him out of the open gym, because we used to have it down in Rock Creek, and him going out. I mean, the stuff that kid came up to do, him and his buddies, it was something else.
They're
I'll
very
tell you what.
creative.
They were a handful, but I was very close to them. I mean, by the time we went through that process of seeing these kids, 6th grade, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, all the way through their senior year, down in that open gym, I'd say we were pretty tight. By the time we had gone through all those years together, and I watched them grow up and watched them become the troublemakers of the open gym, to being the ones I could count on to watch over it for me. If I was there by myself and we had a ton of kids and it was me and them, I knew I could say, hey, you guys got this, right? I got to go downstairs. And they'd be like, yeah, no problem. They would be telling the other kids what the rules were, making sure everyone minded. And yeah, it was a big change for sure.
Well, I'll tell you what, Pastor Bill, that was meant to be, because that's what real pastoring is all about, because you filled the gap for me, and I appreciate it.
Yeah. No.
I should have been there and filling them gaps, and I just wasn't up to the
No, I love your
task.
family, man. I love your family. I met all of them down there. You know what I'm saying? Every one of them through that open gym, at one time or another. But I think what's always amazed me is, like, I've seen you come out, work hard, have crews doing asbestos removal. Then you go to be a painter and running your own business. Recently, you just had a surgery. So you've been, pretty major surgery, actually, that you're still recovering from right now. And I think of all those things that you've been through, you've always been Christ. So how is Jesus Christ impacting your life through all these things on a normal daily basis?
Well, it's just, I wake up I thank him every day for a fresh new day
Right.
out of the book of Lamentations. You know, it's like his grace comes brand new every day.
Right.
And I do not cease to pray. I pray constantly. I should be reading my Bible a little bit more, but every day there's scripture in me.
Right.
Be it 3 or 4. It doesn't matter if you're doing it every day. By the end of the year, you got thousands of scriptures in you.
Right.
So you constantly keep in close proximity with your vertical relationship with him. And he's helped me navigate through family trials and tribulations and tribulations of family while I've been sick.
Right.
Somewhat, you know, and but he's helped me be a good, godly leader to where, like, I'll be at church Sunday. You know, the COVID
Right.
and all that stuff has stopped me for a minute because I've had to have surgery, you know, but my leadership towards God is important to my children. They see
Right.
it, they follow.
Right.
You know, and it's every day he's there in a new way. Like I'm in the smallest things lately,
Right.
to me, you know,
Right.
as far as all the things that they worked on working right is like a giant blessing.
Right.
Instant prayers. He goes, yeah, I can answer that for you right now. You know, so, I mean, answered prayers over maybe not so important things to others, but to me, bang, like right now. I mean,
Right.
it just blows my mind. I'm like, thank you. And I've taken a knock on money. I've taken a knock on some health, and I don't care.
Right.
You know, I know that he's given me back some health to pursue some more kingdom activities, which is this part of it right here.
Right.
That's why when you asked me, I said, yes, I want to.
Oh, yeah. And you told me you're laid up. I'm like, come do a podcast with me.
You know, I mean, 'cause
That's what happens because I create these vortexes and I just suck people into the vortexes.
Oh,
Kinda
you
what happens,
won me
so.
over the first time I met you, Pastor Bill. I didn't have to be in no vortex. I said, I like this guy. He's the same age as me. And,
Right.
and he's looked after my kids. I was always in the back of my heart about how you
Right.
looked after my children.
Right.
You know, and you pastored right. You pastored good.
Right.
And, you know, and I know you give credit to God as I do, but when someone has a man that fills the gaps when he was supposed to be doing it himself, that's never forgotten.
And the thing with Sam, and I think one of the reasons that we've been close for years, is when he was a kid, I was hard on him when he needed to be hard on. And when I didn't need to be, I wasn't. You know, it was just if I'd be hard on you if you needed me to be hard on you because I wasn't going to put up with your nonsense. And I think they respect that a lot of times. I think people don't understand that people and young people really do respect it when you give them clear guidelines and that, because that's part of your love. You know, it's part of your love is saying, hey, you guys can't be here breaking windows, melting crayons on radiators, and doing all this spitting on floors and all the stuff.
Yeah, all
the
this
stuff they were doing,
degenerate,
right?
social
All the stuff
deviant.
you guys are doing, you can't really be doing this. Yeah. So to watch their leadership, you know, progress over the years, you know, until they became, you know, people that I could count on, especially, you know, Sam and Tony I knew so well, but they're all their friends, Butte and Cameron, Rondini, and the whole group of them. You know, I knew them really, really, really well, and they meant a lot to me. You know, it meant a lot to me to be able to be involved in their lives. And I think that's when Christ is working in you too, is just you want to help other people. You want to do what's right by them. You realize that your life is not your own. And like you said, you know, there are times where God's answering prayer. There's times where he's giving you the strength. He's giving you the wisdom. What I see in you is just a lot of commitment to overcome, you know, where I think that you see the life that you had and you never want to go back. And that's one thing I appreciate about
I don't want that back.
You're 10,000% like committed to that's what I was, but that's not what I am now. And I think that's the power of Christ working in us, is where we can say, yeah, I was this, but thank God I'm not that today.
Without the piety.
And all of us are growing, by the way.
With no piety, though, just,
Right.
you know, realistic Christianity. Yeah. Like, yes, I'm a very character defect kind of guy, but guess what? I don't have to worry about those because the cross took care of them, and I just have to work on them. You know,
Right.
I don't have to beat myself up to be saved.
Right. No, you don't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I feel like in, you know, Christ working in me, like there's a constant where, hey, Bill, you could do better. You know, here's where you could be a better husband, or here's where you could be a better dad, or here's where you could be a better person. And you just constantly work on that because you want that love of Christ to be in you. You want that compassion of Christ to be in you. You want that leadership of the Lord to be in you. And in fact, it says Jesus came to give us life and life to the full. And I think for you, you seem to, you know, have that. You know, I see the blessing on your family. I see, you know, God's help with you guys in all the ways. Like he actually brought you and your wife back together.
Oh, yeah.
So you guys are married. I mean, we had mentioned you got divorced from Kelly in 1995. Well, you got married just a few years back. So, I mean, your family is reunited from what it should be, and we praise the Lord for it. You've been listening to the Way to Go podcast. We hope that you appreciate this show, and if you do, one thing that you can do for us is just hit that share button. Share it out to Facebook, Twitter, or whatever it is you're on, your social media platform of choice. You guys have a great and a blessed week. Thanks, Teddy. Appreciate it, buddy.
Oh, you're welcome, Pastor Bill. Love you.